So as I play this, you're not going to be able to hear Jan's narrative, but well, what she's got going on is, and you'll want to listen to it and watch it, is a number of still images that move along to her voice and text that also reiterates what her voice is quoting when she's quoting from something else. So the very first words that we see, first thing that we see, is an image of Mayo, and she reads his quote first. The quote running along the bottom here with him at a desk, and then we have just a sliding in of his life. I stop here because I do like this choice. I like that she's begun with a quote. I like that we begin with the picture, and I like that we then ease into his whole life, which is in fact quite short. It may be helpful to merge in additional elements that, because the place is so important to the narrative, it might be important to merge in maps that help us, or some sort of a visual that helps us sort of see not just the time, which I think is so beautifully depicted in this image of the class, and with the overlay of the choice of text, but again, the place may be part of that importance, and we may want to slow down the pace a tiny bit, just so that we can take in the elements, and so that you can highlight the key hot spots that you really want to push. If it's about him being Maverick, then thus far we don't necessarily have him as Maverick. We do have in his words quite a character, which might be, I like starting with that, and it would make sense to weave that in. I think that all work and all play and no work makes Johnny a nincompoop, or something like this is a quote that comes up a lot. So we can deal with those portions of it as well. It may make sense to make the story a little bit smaller, so that we can really slice finely along the very personal dimensions of this story. Yet it also makes sense to have an overview that tells the larger narrative in which he's been involved. But if it's a story about William Mayo as a maverick, then the story of the human becomes even more important. So we might want to think about teasing out the title even more if we want to tell a larger story more closely than that. So this is beautiful. This sets us up. He lived the life of a maverick educator, is what you say. She's quoting here, I think, Gold, and the very opening phrase, paragraph where he's talking about how his very strict methods would not have been accepted by the National Council of Teachers of English. Since you're quoting Gold, it may be important here to show us, or I think you're quoting, it might be important for us to know that that's where it's coming from, and that becomes a little bit difficult to do in a video, but you can certainly do it just by adding his name. If you're going to spend any time, though, with this strict disciplinary choices, then we might want to weave in other media to make that happen. And I'm not sure if that becomes important to the narrative, but it might. I mean, that's certainly a maverick way. I love this. This is where you really get into your, I love that we've got individual pictures, and we get to know that his conservative leadership and management and pedagogy establish the pedagogy that drive the civilly engaged pedagogy. So that is your thesis, and I really love that, and I think that your tying to the community college is really brilliant. If there's a way for us to move directly into that now, that'd be the time. I'm going to move into the next.